You said it post game. You needed 60 minutes, and you didn't get
Nope,
60
we did
minutes.
not. Nope, but we got to pick up the pieces and figure out how to win another game here this week.
You say no naps. Was that a nap?
Nah, I mean, again, they made plays, and the quarterback, the field position. We couldn't get turnovers. We knew, we got a third down stop, and then they convert on fourth down, a big X play, and whatever it was, penalty, X play, whatever. That's just we had talked about there were going to be some times in the game where we were going to have to make the play, and when that came up, we needed to make it, and there were times where we did, and then unfortunately times where we didn't. We didn't in the second half, and knew that we were going to need to be better than what we were in the red zone, and that's that's concerning. We have to force teams to kick field goals when they do drive it on us.
You and Wiggy played the game. You coached the game. I just watched the game from a fan perspective, but it seemed like watching in that way, the defense was able to disrupt Josh Allen pretty well first half. Second half, not so much. Was there a different approach there? Were you more conservative?
No, not a different approach. I mean, you have to, to be able to pressure him on third down, you have to create third and longs, and we did that and got off the field. They missed a couple, and then like I just said, we had 2nd and 10 a few times and didn't do well enough, and he extended and scrambled and just wanted to try to mix it up like we talked about before the game, and being able to blitz him sometimes, play some zone and play some man and try to spy him.
Mike, one of the things that you probably talk about with your team, and you talked a little bit about after the game, is why Josh Allen is such a good quarterback. Mm-hmm. But the one area that you guys have been relatively good has been your special teams, and you had 2 huge returns. One was a penalty, and if you're gonna make a guy like Josh Allen score on you, at least make him go the length of the field. What were some of the things that you said to the special teams group about those big plays that they gave?
Well, we knew that was going to be a challenge. He had a 98-yard touchdown against the Texans. He was averaging whatever he was, a good average, top 6 or 7 in the league. And listen, we knew that they were going to clamp you, and they were going to, it's only a penalty or a holding if they call it, and if they clamp you and we don't do enough to show the separation and the restriction at the point of attack, then that's what's going to happen. And so, we have to do a better job of, creating disruption, but also, not just running into guys and making sure that, that the lanes are filled, and, they had a couple double teams, and then the guys that aren't doubled have to show up. So that's been a strength of ours, and certainly covering kicks has been. It wasn't yesterday. So, we have to get back to that unit helping us and keeping teams from the, starting at the 30-yard line.
Drake came out so hot yesterday, and then in the second half, things kind of fell off a bit. What was the main difference in your mind from the first half to the second for him?
Well, I think just being able to get into, get the first down and get into drives, and, we came up short a little bit there, and they, played a little bit of man against us, and, we have to be able to separate and protect, and, we just never really got into enough drives, in the second half.
It just felt like the possession of the momentum of the entire game just felt like it couldn't stop in the Bills' favor. And in the first half, the offense had such great play calls. There was, the double pass. You had an excellent plan for the Bills, and that felt like it totally went out the window in the second half.
Well, you can only run so many double passes that gain 13 yards. You know what I mean? Like that's cool and it's cute. But you can only run so many of those before, again, you can only dial up so many of those. I always, I'm not going to sit here. I've never really tried to second guess the play calling. I always think that the best plays are ones that are, decisive and that the players know and that they trust. And, obviously there's some better ones, but I don't think there's a perfect call. And so, we get back and we look at it, and I'm sure there's always going to be some ones that we're going to want to have back. And, we had it 1st and 10 at midfield. 2nd and 10, then the penalties, it's 3rd and 5, it's 3rd and 10, and it's 3rd and 25, and it's just like that. That's not us. So I don't know what play call is going to fix that, but I do always understand that there's a great balance between the play call and the execution, and obviously the decisions that we make. And there were times along the game that all 3 of those were really good, and then there was times in the game where those really didn't align and they weren't very good. And so that's on all of us. That's on the coaching, that's on the players, and I've always been in this, and it starts with me. I know that sounds cliche, but we want to have the balance, and the players trust what we're calling, and that the coaches trust the players, and the players trust each other to do their job.
Is there a back and forth in game in terms of play calls? Like, are you on a splitter where if Josh calls something in, you could sort of jump in, or is that Josh is on?
I think what I've always tried to do, I'm responsible for everything that gets called, but I've also learned that if I don't make a suggestion before they spot the ball, that's really hard to do on a play caller, that we have multiple personnel groups offensively or defensively. And so for me to say, when he says, I'm not going to get into the personnel groups, or let's say it's it's 2 tight end grouping with 2 wide receivers and a back, and all of a sudden he calls for that, and I say that I want another play that's out of another personnel group. Now we've got guys running onto the field. So again, I'm all for making suggestions, but I've learned that my suggestions need to be done before they spot the ball, and that may be, hey, let's run it here out of big people, or hey, let's spread them out, or whatever it may be. But I always try to make that, and I think I've learned, I used to do that probably too much in Tennessee, where it was too late, and then it's causing this, panic in the play clock. So I'm all for making suggestions. I just have to try to do it before they spot the football, in order to give the play caller a chance to get a grouping in there and a play in there for the players.
It's kind of like on this show when we need to go to a commercial break and Wiggy starts a story.
I'm such a good storyteller.
It could go on for hours.
Did you just say you're such a good storyteller?
Yeah, kind of like
self-proclaimed.
Yeah. I mean, at least they're good stories to me. I can't help everybody else.
Steph Diggs said post-game that this loss may have been a good thing for this team. Are you ever of that mindset?
Well, I think that it can be an opportunity. It's an opportunity that we have to learn from, and I've tried to stay consistent in my messaging and what we'll do, and we'll take a look at all the good stuff, and we'll have to fix the stuff that gets us beat, and we'll have to talk to these guys about making great in-game decisions and all the details and the techniques and the things that cost us, and try to get back and get healthy and get back on the road and win a game.
Mike, I'm an outsider looking in, and I know that the officials have a very difficult job. My biggest thing, even when I was a player, is just be consistent. I don't get some of the tugging, pulling, the hand fighting. You get they call it pass interference on both Marcus Jones and Davis, and then they don't do nothing about the Mac Hollins play in the end zone. So I know it's got to be difficult for you because you understand what they go through, but what do they say to you out there? Because we're just on the outside looking in.
Well, first of all, you know a lot about tug and pull, okay?
Yes,
I would say that.
Come on. You don't think I was able to get open without the tug and pull?
And I
pause.
It is a difficult job. They do have a difficult job. The consistency. Sometimes I struggle with it. Whether I'll say this: the Bills lead the NFL in offensive holding, and I'll leave it at that.
Right.
And that would be hard for me to understand how the team that is coming into the game leading, and that's how they play, didn't have one yesterday.
Right.
So
Well,
that's hard for me to understand.
That second drive, Homer take, but that second drive of the second quarter, you could have called 5 times on him.
Well,
I mean,
there was a Deion Dawkins hold on left tackle, like in the third quarter, that even the broadcast was like,
the pancake one where he was pulling with his inside hand and he had his right hand up to make it seem like I'm not doing anything.
And they're fine with that. And again, that's how they play. They've been successful, but they've been able to overcome those. And that was just my point was, listen, just if they're there, call them. And I'm sure ours are penalties, and we can debate Marcus Jones. I don't think it was a catch. You know what I mean? Whether we think it's a PI, that's their call. So we'll just, again, we have to know what the rules are. We have to know how they are calling it, what the mechanics are. If listen, if you're not playing the football, the margin for error goes way, way, way down. So when you're not playing the football and there's perceived contact or whatever it may be, the margin for error goes way, way down.
But if you intercept a pass, how are you not making a play on the football?
Right. Well, because you're not looking back and playing it. I'm playing Wiggy. Wiggy gets his arms back through me, and whether he's coming back or we're drifting, that's where the I think struggles. You can face guard, it's just you can't face guard with contact.
Right.
I felt like both players were still drifting away from the football as opposed to going back. And I know that his arms went back, but he continued to drift, and that's where sometimes they don't get called. That wasn't the case yesterday.
Coming off the bye, did you feel like this was a good week of prep going in?
Yeah.
I know there was some talk that you were upset Wednesday or angry Wednesday at practice. I don't know if that's
I'm not, because I'm not sure who reported that, but
I don't know who it was.
Well, who was it?
I don't pay attention to that.
You just report stuff.
Probably Edelman. I mean, I saw Edelman in the Athletics say that you're an a-hole. I don't know if you saw that or not. I mean, I don't get that vibe from you.
I don't know.
What's he talking about?
I think it was kind of in jest,
tongue in cheek,
tongue and pull.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, the way that we started the football game is how we wanted to start it. It was just being able to sustain, and the whole emphasis was that this was going to be an identity matchup and battle for 4 quarters. We knew that that's what this was going to be. A lot of examples of, the Bills not panicking and having a veteran football team and being able to come back in the second half and make some plays. And so, we'll have to learn from this, and it'll only be a good opportunity from a loss as if we learn from it.
After the game, the guys upset but weren't beating themselves up too badly, and Jalen Hawkins said that came from your messaging to the team after. What was your main message to them after a loss like that?
We got to pick the pieces back up, and we're 11-3, and we're going to work our asses off to be 12-3. And I love coaching these guys, and it's not perfect, and none of us are. And this happens in the National Football League, and it's 83 days since we lost. We went 83 days, and it was a good run, and we have to start another one. We got to get back to work here and practice, but we will. We got a bunch of good dudes.
Mike, everybody in that building and outside this building knows that you're a good football team. How do you make sure the messaging where it's 3 games left, and it's just human nature for players to start to say, okay, where are we playoff wise? Where do we sit? Where are we doing? What are we looking at? Home field, second seed. How do you make sure that guys don't get caught up in that?
Well, I think you have to, just continue to focus on the opponent, focus on the corrections and the things that we did well. Which I'll have to point out the things that we didn't do as well as we should have, and then just focus on make it all about the Ravens and make it about the challenge of going on the road and trying to beat them.
Were you impressed? I know you probably haven't had much time to watch anything but your own game, but that Phillip Rivers returned and didn't completely fall flat on his face?
Didn't break his hip, no. I mean, that is impressive. I mean, just, coaching high school football and going back out there and being able to operate and function, I think is pretty impressive.
Wiggs is next.
No, not even close. Not even close. There's not enough pulling and tugging in the world that's going to get me open.
Trainer.
Josh McDaniels said this week he looks forward to being here for a while and building this thing with you. How important is he to the success that you've had this season?
Well, not only Josh, it's the entire football coaching staff and the support staff, and Josh has been a large part of that. And it's been good. I think he's enjoyed it. I think that every team or staff that you're on is a little different. It's got a little different feel to it. It's got different coaches to it, and there's a lot of new faces here for him. And I think that's been good. I don't want to speak for him, but I think I hope he's enjoyed being here and coaching here and getting us started and 12 games in or however many games in. What is it? 14 games and. So yeah, but it's been great to work with him. Excited to see the growth and the continued development of Drake and everybody else. So that's all I try to put a good staff together that can support each other, challenge each other, and then also, most importantly, help the players.
I'm sure there's a focus when it comes to the negative plays from yesterday, but one positive play that got our group message all fired up was Drake's block for Henderson.
Can we call it a block?
Yes.
It was an attempted block.
It was a block.
It was getting away. It was getting away.
I thought it was impressive by him. Did you?
Yeah, anything that we can do to help protect the guy with the football, I'm for.
He was fast too. He looked good.
Yeah.
He looked good. It got Shime, 0 to 100, 6 to midnight.
Yes, I mean, as long as he can stay out of the way and take care of himself, I think that's a great thing to see.
I don't think we asked you last week with the Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick being finalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I assume we know your answer, but your thoughts on both of their eligibility.
Oh, gosh. I mean, I think they're both very well deserving. I mean, I think, you look at our organization and our franchise with Robert and his leadership and the success that we've had, the development of this stadium and this Patriot Place. And the one thing that I always respect is I came back and the stadium is completely different. And, it stayed modern. Our club levels and our suites and the end zone things are just, I think it's always just been cool to see as opposed to other stadiums that were built, around 2001, our record. And then obviously the success that Bill had as the head coach here is unprecedented. And so they're both very well deserving, I would say. Not that I get a vote, but I hope they both get in.
Yeah, Robert, long overdue.
A little turnaround for you on Patriot Place. You weren't a fan of it when it started.
Why would I not be a fan of Patriot Place?
Wasn't there a quick comment or something about spending some money on Patriot Place? I don't remember that. Was that you when you were playing?
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
I wear a lot of different hats. I was representing Wiggy. I was trying to get Wiggy every last dollar I could as a player rep.
You're fighting for the other guys. You're fighting for the guys at that time. Yes.
Believe me, I could use every last dollar. Mike, the one thing
yeah, those neck tats aren't cheap.
No, they are not. I've had this forever, though. I got this back when I was in Carolina. The one thing I'll give your players a lot of credit for, whether it's Steph Diggs or we heard some guys after the game, they don't really get into the, whoa, it's me complaining about the officials. It seems like these guys have really taken on the personality of, hey, we learn from our mistakes. We take our L like a big boy. We blame ourselves for what we didn't do, and we move on. Talk about your players and their ability to do that.
Well, and I appreciate that. I think that we always we'll hear their explanations, but we can't accept excuses. And so, we just own it, and we come in with a willingness and a humility to improve. But also I'm hoping that we don't are like walking around with our heads down. I mean, we have to get back to work, and it sucks to lose. And it sucks to lose like that with an opportunity to win the division, and it didn't happen. And that's what you have to learn from. You can work really hard for stuff, and you can want stuff really bad, and sometimes you don't get it. And you have to be able to just come back and compete, and pick up the pieces and put them back together.
All right, our conversation with the coach brought to you by Cross Insurance. Cross Insurance, official insurance broker of the New England Patriots. Thank you, Coach Vrabel.